Hello and welcome to the 16th episode of ZeroCool's HardDrive, where the spoilers get spoiled, the laughs are forced, and the answer to save the world is almost always friendship. I'm Berg. With me, as always, are Dunkel and Houseman. This week, the randomizer gods chose for us 2008 and HellBoy 2: The Golden Army. Before we dive into the movie, Houseman has some movie facts and news.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if I can follow that whole friendship thing up. I mean,
God.
I feel like we entered a My Little Pony episode here. Expect Pinkie Pie to break the fourth wall and pop in.
It's always the answer to everything. It's the friends you made along the way.
And 42.
And 42.
I think it's a mixture of both. But yeah, welcome, folks. We are popping back to 2008. Not so very long ago, only 18 years. See what was going on that year.
That's
So
a whole high school student, Casey. That's a minute.
What's that?
That's an entire high school student. That's a minute.
I was 5 years out of high school, if that helps. I was a grown boy working at a sawmill.
What was 2008? What was the news?
Well, we have a little bit of news. Not a lot going on there, honestly. But first off, we have the Large Hadron Collider at CERN was turned on for the first time in 2008.
The world and started all the Mandela effects, right?
Actually, what happened was 9 days after they turned it on, they had to shut it down because of some short between two connections. So yeah, it took like over a year to repair and get back online. But yeah, the thing that people thought would end the world didn't end the world. Just takes a crap ton of energy to run.
That's your opinion.
Don't forget, folks, we're starting a conspiracy podcast after this episode, maybe. But no, Twilight also released that year. The movie, much to the pain of a lot of boyfriends and husbands out there, but
boo and hiss. Unfortunately,
it did make $392 million on a $37 million budget. So I can't give it this. It was definitely a popular movie.
Wasn't the book a fan fiction of something else?
Good question. I didn't really do a deep dive on Twilight. I bet my wife knows.
I can't remember. Or something else made a fan fiction off of Twilight that became big. It's one of those two things.
I mean, Twilight is vampires and werewolves, so I wouldn't be shocked if it was fan fiction spinning off something.
Was that the first version where like
American
vampires
werewolves
stood in the light
and
they just
fan fiction
shimmered in the light?
It definitely sounds like a preteens version of some vampire movie.
I definitely prefer the supernatural version where they stand in the light and they just combust instead of like the, oh my God,
they don't combust in the light, they sparkle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I prefer the other ones where they explode in the light, not glimmer in the light.
That's why I think it's just a preteen like take on it. See, I want them to sparkle, and the werewolves are all handsome and they love the teenager and blah 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 blah.
Okay.
Yeah, I won't go into too much more on that.
You're definitely hammering it home on the Twilights here.
Oh, you can tell we love it.
And next week, Twilight.
Oh no. Sorry, folks. You'd have to give us some extra special feedback if you want us to do that.
I will make all my picks part of the trilogy just to get you down that road.
Now, this one wasn't a huge bit of news that year, but I did find it interesting. There was a study concluded that year that found through DNA matching, 22% of Australians had a convict ancestor. So, I mean, it was kind of assumed for the longest time. But they proved that 22% of the Australian living population had a convict ancestor. So
that is crazy.
Bunch of criminals.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right. And last but not least for the news of that year, we have Usain Bolt, who set the world record in the 100 meter, 200 meter, and 4x100 meter. And I believe I actually remember watching his 100 meter race, and it was kind of embarrassing for the rest of the racers.
Because he went crazy for a few years there.
Well, if I remember the 100, he looked back halfway through and slowed down because he was very far ahead.
He was extremely faster. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because the number one rule of sprinting is you don't look back, you just go forward.
Yeah. Him and then that new American guy, they do a lot of that. He's that newer guy, he's very cocky. I don't know.
Well, I think it was an American that had the previous world record, like Marcus Green or something. Can't remember. But anyway, on to the movie facts. So this movie this week, HellBoy 2, had an $85 million budget and earned $168 million worldwide. So, I mean, not the greatest success. It only earned about double its budget. It still made money.
Yeah,
but definitely not
almost double. Yeah,
definitely not in the echelons of your Twilights as mentioned earlier. I think Iron Man came out that year as well. But still, by any measure of success, that movie did well.
I think that at that time is still a niche kind of because this starts out as a comic to begin with, right? HellBoy?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a comic. Yeah.
Yeah, it
I
kind of
forgot
falls in that.
to get the writer's name.
And then like it's got a little bit of like not necessarily horror but gore to it, so like you kind of lose some of the available audience there. It's not like Marvel where everybody and their neighbor goes to see it.
Pretty
Mike
much.
Mignola was the writer, and in fact, he co-wrote this with Guillermo Del Toro. So he was definitely involved in filming his baby, you might say.
Huh.
But moving on here, we're gonna start with some movie trivia now. So originally, the Hellboy series was meant to be a trilogy, but I guess 2 wasn't successful enough for them to warrant it. And in addition to that, they were actually going to do a spin-off of the Abe character. I think it was going to
Really?
be
For like its own movie?
Surprising.
yeah, it was going to be like Hellboy Silver something.
I don't believe
But yeah.
that could carry its own movie.
Yeah, I didn't think that either because he wasn't. I mean, he was an
At least
okay
it
character.
doesn't seem like a big enough character to carry its own movie.
Right. It's like
Really.
I hope they don't do that with Marvel with the new Avengers or whatever, where it's like Groot, Rocket, and all like the random guys where they left them last.
Yeah,
Adam Warlock in them.
But the reason this doesn't surprise me though is like Guillermo del Toro notoriously is nerds out on a lot of these franchises he picks up.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Hellboy was no different. He was actually a big fan of Hellboy, so I would imagine he just went wild and wanted to write all the Hellboy movies in the world.
I'm
But
sure he
obviously,
did, yeah.
studios at some point are going to be like, "Hey, it's not making enough money anymore."
Plus, it leads into his creations that he can make and stuff like that too. So.
Oh yes, he's up there for me at least with like Jim Henson and Ray Harryhausen as far as creature design goes. And I know he doesn't all design them all himself, but I know he plays a integral part in it. But moving on with the facts here, the Angel of Death actor Doug Jones. So his outfits later in the movie, we'll get to that scene. But there's a crack in the mask, and that was the only place he could see out of wearing that mask. And in addition, the wing prosthetics weighed 40 pounds.
Jeepers.
So originally the guy was going to like pace around the room, but instead that they had him on wires because it was just too dang heavy.
This is the winged like flat face person.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, 40 pounds is quite a bit for a prosthetic like that.
That is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of weight.
And additionally, his voice. So that scene with the voice, Doug Jones actually recorded it in both a high pitch and a low pitch. And then when they went to mix it in the final edit, they just like joined the two together. So it kind of gives this like, ethereal type feel to it.
Like just have him talk at that point.
And this part was probably crazier because, like, I mean, I just think Del Toro could probably be rolling in more dough than he ever has if he'd like taken all the projects. But Guillermo Del Toro turned down Halo, I Am Legend, and Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince to direct this movie.
Nice.
I mean, it's a good decision on the Halo one. I don't think that did very well.
Well, wasn't it that like almost straight to DVD Halo that came out in 2008?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, something like that. It was like.
I mean, it's not the technical term for it. I know, but, like,
it was something that was like straight to DVD. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But
as
even
bad
so,
as
like, I mean, I Am Legend. Like, he actually could have made that a good movie. Maybe he wouldn't have picked Will Smith.
Crazy.
Whoa.
Shots fired. Will Smith.
Shots
I don't
fired
care.
at Will Smith, I guess.
I'm not a fan of Will Smith. I'll just put it out there. Not trying to alienate fan base here. And then obviously I have Harry Potter, one of the biggest franchises in the world.
Yeah, but that'd be weird for him to just direct one of them.
Yeah, and my guess is right. They probably came to him with like multiple projects, and he's like, "No, I want to direct Ron Perlman and Hellboy." So
I thought they were talking about coming back. I just looked it up too. They also did a 2019 version. Also,
yeah, there was a 2019 version of Hellboy, not directed by Guillermo and not starring Ron Perlman.
Yeah, with
and
David
then more
Harbour.
recently, I think we talked about this last week, even maybe, but there's a Hellboy and the Crooked Man or something like that.
Yeah, which looked a little bit way lower budget.
Yeah,
really?
At least just looking at it quick.
Oh, yep, 2024 apparently.
Yeah, so not really getting that much attention. I know that 2019 one was a little bit of a bigger deal, but
yeah, it was okay.
Bombed at the box office. Probably had a pretty large budget.
I think it had a pretty large budget. Yeah.
But speaking of Ron Perlman, we're going to segue into the top build cast. And you know what? I want to give a bunch of people credit on this one. Hopefully going forward, we can maybe name a few more stars. Just make sure not everyone's forgotten. We got Ron Perlman as Hellboy, of course, the iconic Hellboy. Doug Jones played Abe, Chamberlain, and the Angel of Death.
Yeah, so he always plays quite a few. He's like a monster character.
Well, in fact, I was reading about the first movie. So David Hyde Pierce did the voice for Abe in the first movie, but Doug Jones did the actual physical acting. And I guess David Hyde Pierce actually asked not to be credited for Abe because he didn't see it as his work. And that's in fact why he didn't come back for the second one. Because essentially he's like just bowing out to Doug Jones saying like, "Hey, this is your role. Why am I going to just do the voice when you can do
Doug
all
Jones
of it?
is like a full-on contortionist, isn't he? Like he was like a professional contortionist or something like that, I think.
So I didn't look up a ton of facts on him, but I could assume by his career, especially playing all the different parts, is like, yeah. I'm guessing he's probably a Guillermo favorite too, if he's a contortionist. I like to go back actually to like maybe look at cast of Pan's Labyrinth, see if played some roles in there. I'm assuming he did. Selma Blair's Liz, kind of a more of a 90s star, but still kind of hanging in there in the 2000s. Seth MacFarlane and James Dodd as Johann Kraus. So Seth MacFarlane did the voice, James Dodd did the physical acting. We got Luke Goss as Prince Nuada, Anna Walton as Princess Nuala, and of course Jeffrey Tambor as Tom Manning.
And John Hurt for like 4
comedic
seconds.
self. Yes, John Hurt, very brief in the beginning. We'll give him some credit. Played Professor Broom there to a kind of, I guess we'll call it adolescence Hellboy. But yeah, that is our movie facts and our news for the year. Who's going to take us away with the movie?
I can take us away. So it starts off, it does give you a little bit of a quick background and a quick little aside for people wanting to watch this movie. You should definitely watch the first Hellboy, because you're gonna miss a lot of things, or you're not gonna
Plot holes.
There's gonna be a lot of plot holes that might not hit. I mean, like through like you can like kind of figure out what's going on with different things. Like there's obviously things that tell you like this is what Abe's doing when he puts his hand up or whatever. But there's a lot of like background that you should probably have from the first one.
There's a lot of assumed familiarity with the characters.
Yeah, there's definitely like you obviously watched the first one to watch this one, right? Like that's definitely how they do it. But yeah, it starts off, shows you, in it's right before World War II, right? I think.
Yes.
A bunch of scientists and soldiers find a little demon baby that they adopt. John Hurt's character kind of adopts him, and then it cuts to them in like a trailer. Hellboy is probably, I don't know, we'd call him like 10 to 13,
10,
maybe.
Yeah, 10, 11.
They never really tell you his actual age, so you just kind of guess, but like he looks like a 10-year-old. Then he's watching Howdy Doody on TV. But I thought out of all of like the mask makeup and all of the special effects, I felt like the kids, like I don't know if they like made the teeth too big for the kid's mouth to move right, but it just seemed off when he was talking.
It felt like a full
You're not
mask.
wrong.
Yeah,
it just felt weird. It was like, did they make his teeth too big so the kid couldn't like move his whole jaw? It was just like a really weird, I don't know. He like talked and then his mouth barely moved.
It almost seemed like maybe there's some digital enhancement there too with the prosthetics.
Yeah, it was odd. That was like the only part that like was really odd with like the prosthetics and the like CGI that was actually in the movie, I felt like.
But to your point with the teeth, they look, all I can think is they look like chiclets.
Yeah, pretty much.
yeah. Dennis the Menace
Just two big giant buck teeth, and then a couple little other ones. Yeah, it was weird. And then he's saying that Howdy Doody's alive. I think that's a callback to the first movie too, actually, with Howdy Doody. And then he asks him to tell him a story, and he tells him to put Mr. Dee Doo away. Like, doesn't even try to get Howdy Doody right. He calls him. I wrote it down. He calls him Mr. Dee Doo. Mr. Dee Doo can go to bed then, and then basically starts the whole movie off telling him the story of the Golden Army with a little bit of a cartoonesque scene of humans versus elves.
Reading up on it, there actually was some Celtic folklore similar to this, so they actually did kind of pull from some actual myths.
That's cool.
He didn't do much like call back to the whole book reading throughout the movie, did he?
No, he only brought it back once when Johann Kraus says something, or the princess says something about the Golden Army, and all Hellboy says is "Howdy Doody," and then he just like turns away. Like he doesn't.
What the heck?
There's no big callback to that scene. This is just like we're setting the movie up. This is what the movie's going to be about.
Yeah,
they
keep his Gundam mentality and not the I know this story. I know what they're going for. Kind of thing.
Exactly.
I know what this is. Nope.
There's none of that. He literally just says "Howdy Doody," and then that's it.
I couldn't help but imagine too during the scene, because it reminded me so much of the Peter Falk, Fred Savage scene in Princess Bride.
But yeah, for sure.
Just sit there while Grandpa tells you a story.
Yep. Reading out of this crazy book that didn't even look like it had words in it.
Yeah, like this book was like, I mean, just bring it out of a vault. Like, who just has this book?
Ornate book in his little
looks like it's written
suitcase
in
thing.
Elvish.
Yeah. Let me just
that's-
open up
yeah.
my magical mythology book. And Howdy Doody's not real, though, by the way.
Right. And then something I wrote down was why do humans always have to suck?
Yeah.
Always. We're never the good guys in any of these stories where there's monsters or elves or trolls. We're always the bad guys.
Hey, Independence Day.
We're the ones that got greedy.
I also,
Independence Day, we're the
also
good
while
guy.
he was reading the story and he was talking about a hole in the humans' hearts and their greed, the only thing I could think of was greedy dwarves.
Yeah. And even, yeah, the Lord of the Rings mythology too, right? Humans are just like, and the greedy humans got 9 rings because they're greedy and they suck.
Always greed.
What did you guys think of all like the carved wooden characters that they did to portray the story?
I liked that animation style. I wouldn't like it in long format.
Yeah,
It's
just
nice for these
the
little
quick aside
vignettes.
is pretty cool. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Nice little recap of everything.
Yeah, to recap the story, there's a war between the humans who are greedy and want everything and the magical creatures. The humans are winning somehow. They don't really say how. I feel like the magical creatures should win that fight
Right.
more times.
Ogres and everything.
Yeah,
The
it's
impression I
usually
got was
because
that we
it's
breed
usually
like rabbits.
Yeah,
Like
usually
that.
because of numbers. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So the goblins tell the king of the elves that they can make an unstoppable army out of gold, which is also a weird thing to make it out of.
Seems impractical. It's kind of
And
heavy.
then they make an indestructible army that cannot be beaten. But after the king sees what he's done and all the death that it's dealt, he puts the army away because he just doesn't want that. And then the magical creatures go to the shadows, which seems like a bad choice on his part. I mean,
Yeah.
we're humans, so obviously, like, that's cool, but like that's a bad choice. He could have had the Earth.
Yeah. Well, also,
Basically,
like,
pulls an Oppenheimer.
yeah, the whole lore behind it was weird too, because it's like as long as nobody is trying to challenge your throne, then they'll forever obey you.
Yeah, kind
And
of
like
something like that.
that kind of law was kind of throwing me off too. And like that comes into play later too. And like a weird way to explain how many they had was like 70 times or 70
70
golems.
times 70.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was just like 70 golems 70 times.
Yeah,
Almost
something
biblical.
like that. Yeah, it was
In
very
a
weird.
weird way. Like,
And then the crown that controls them was split into 3 pieces, 1 for the humans, 2 for the magical creatures. Is how that all kind of sets up like the whole entire, this is the plot of the movie, basically. You can get from the context, you could be like, okay, this is what we're going for.
and but you know what? I'll never get these plot devices here in that they're always like, oh, we're gonna put the pieces elsewhere on the globe so nobody can get them. It's like, why don't you just destroy them right then and there? Like, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. And we'll get into it more, but there's more with those pieces that makes 0 sense.
Because it always speaks to me like, oh yeah, we're just gonna put it off here in these corners and it's all gonna be peaceful forever. It's like, no. The fact that you're not destroying it probably means that you or somebody else intends to use it again someday.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then we get
we'll make-
introduced right away to Prince Nuada, who's like a elf, very cool costume, makeup, whatever you want to say. He's a pretty cool character. He has a sweet sword sword that becomes a spear. You see him kind of practicing in the subway because obviously they've been like pushed to the darkness.
Yeah.
And his big buddy Wink with a fist on a chain that he can throw at people.
Mr.
Yeah.
Wink. Yeah.
I had a thought about this too. It's like it's funny that he's in like this little like dungeon thing, but you see the train drive by. It's like you're telling me never once somebody's like caught a glimpse of like this guy.
I thought about that too, but like if they're going fast enough and like are you looking at the crevices of the train underneath the, if you're in the city, like how often are you going to look over and be like, whoa?
Yeah.
Well, and I know because they mentioned this later too, right? That like fairy folk kind of have this guise around them that like
Yeah, like an
can't
aura
see their
kind of
actual
thing.
appearance.
Then they
And I
call
don't
it
know if that applied to him too.
they called it
So-
glamour, didn't they? Which they've used.
Yeah,
I've heard
I
in
think
other
so,
movies too, like a glamour or something along those lines. Yeah. So then it cuts to an auction, which is this auction is ridiculous for one because
Yeah.
there's like a giant statue, fertility statue that they're bidding on. That statue's got to weigh tons and tons. It's
Yeah, how did
solid
they get it
stone
in that room?
statue. It's
Tell
in
me
a
how they got
tiny
it in that room.
and like 6 floors up.
Yeah.
Probably. So you're telling me that they got 15 tons of stone up there and in this tiny room?
And I don't know what kind of floor support they got in that building, but my God, that thing would probably try to fall through that floor.
Right. And yeah, so then a piece of the crown comes in, and this is where I thought it was kind of interesting because they knew what the crown piece was. Because
Yeah.
he explains it exactly what the
Well-
crown piece is.
Well, he says from like a forgotten time.
Or forgotten culture or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That,
But
that
he-
wasn't
From the
too
fabled
crazy.
Golden Army.
Because I mean, I could see like, it's maybe from a forgotten Celtic culture and there was this myth surrounding it. But
maybe. But like, also, why is this piece not handed
Just, like,
down to children
floating
and things
around,
like that, right?
But also, like,
it does make you wonder where they got it.
Well, and like like the organization that Hellboy works with is kind of like an Avengers, Men in Black kind of group too. So you'd figure that they would try and hold on to something like that, knowing
or
that,
be
like,
watching the auctions, yeah.
right? Like they would know, like, hey, this kind of thing is out there. We got to make sure we hang on to that, like the Tesseract kind of thing from Avengers, but like Loki, where it's like, hey, we know that's a problem. You should get that.
Yeah,
Nope.
we should definitely get that. Yeah, so then Wink and Nuada bust in, and I wrote this down. I get that, like, the elves can obviously outfight the humans, and Wink, to describe him, he's humongous, so he's going to beat it. But the security in this place is terrible for what they're bidding on.
Yeah.
Like, that statue went for like $400,000. This crown's made of solid gold, obviously going to go for a lot of.
Well, and
they
the
had
other
like
thing,
4 security guards who didn't even look like they had guns.
well, the other thing that got me too was like, okay, like this almost seems like an illegal private auction because they seem to be selling like essentially cultural goods.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I kind of got that
cultural
vibe too. That maybe it was illegal, but also, like, where's your armed guards and your machine guns? And
Either way, right?
Where's all your things?
Whether it was legal or illegal, there's a lot of money exchanging hands there. You better have some dang good security.
I think it was portrayed pretty legal because the outside of the building they show when they come up from the sewer system, it's displayed all outside of the building that they're having. This
Was
auction.
it? I missed that.
Yeah, you're right. It was.
Yeah, it was displayed on the outside. So, like,
but again, I would think it would be like museums, like, or committees being like, "Oh, hey, we're going to have this at our museum, and then share it with you."
Yeah, but I don't think the museum anticipated getting nuked by a superhuman individual either.
Well, that's also true. I mean, but still, like, have more guards than 4 guards.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's taking down the 2-ton fertility god down the stairs? Let's be honest.
Well, I know, and that's what I don't even understand how that thing was up there in the beginning, but yeah. So then, so Nuada drops these 2 boxes, which you find out later have the symbol of war.
Oh, yeah,
The war, they're like trees. They're the symbol of war is what they call it when later.
Yeah, yep. Well, because it's the stamp of the royal whatever. Because the book that he opened in the beginning when he was reading had that same stamp on it.
Yeah, and then I don't know if there was like the difference, but yeah, like Abe calls it a symbol of war later because that's what worries him. And then
Does he? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something about this is a symbol of war.
Yeah,
I did war.
I did have a mental note for that. Like when they do come in and like he takes the gold piece, way overkill for the people you're going after. It's like the beasts that he released and everything, and like the Tooth Fairy like these are just like the rich people. These aren't even the people like you're going to be fighting at some point potentially. So like,
yeah, but I think it's kind of like Nuada hates all the humans.
Well, he even said it himself. He's basically trying to send a message. He's like, you greedy. I'll paraphrase here, but you greedy bastards.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
Yeah. So you kind of get a glimpse of the Tooth Fairies coming out of there, and then it cuts to what's the acronym they use for what Hellboy is in? The
Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense.
Yeah, that's what it is.
EP something. Yeah.
So they go to their headquarters. Jeffrey Tambor's character, Tom Manning, he knocks on the glass, "Hey, fish stick, wake up," or something like that, to talk to Abe. And then he's just telling Abe about how Hellboy can't stay out of pictures. I did think it was funny because he's like flipping through and he's like, he posed for this one. He has like peace sign in.
It's just
I thought it was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of proceed. Yeah. Basically, it sounds like Abe's almost like we'll say the Hellboy whisperer, the way he's putting it, because like Jeffrey Tambor, Tom Manning is actually their boss.
Yeah, he's their boss, but
it seems like Hellboy really doesn't respect him. Or
goes on like 5 rants throughout the whole thing. Like, he doesn't like me. I know he doesn't like me. He doesn't listen to me.
Yeah. And then so they're kind of walking, and they start talking about how him and Liz, Selma Blair's character, are fighting. And he's like, "Well, is it bad?" And he's like, "Well, sometimes it's bad." And he's like, "Well, how bad?" And then there's an explosion, and the safe door basically goes flying by him because Liz tried to blow up Hellboy.
I would like to mention, though,
clothes aren't burnt at all in this explosion.
I would like to mention the scene preceding this definitely felt inspired by Men in Black. It was kind of like, the scene of them walking through the halls, going to see Hellboy.
Where they had like the CGI monsters in the background.
Yeah, they had like agents and uniform, like wrestling. And
kind of seemed forced in there a little bit. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, this is Men in Black.
Right.
Yep. So and then he gets blown out of there. those must be the most fireproof clothes ever because he just kind of pats himself off. Clothes are fine.
Yeah, man, things handle fireproof like powers so weirdly. I mean,
Yeah,
I think back to the Human Torch. This is a special nano weave fiber.
Yeah, and then the
that
same
doesn't
thing
burn.
for Liz is like she's on fire in the room when they go to talk to her more, and none of her clothes are getting scorched. So obviously, they have the greatest technology in the history of the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
they
think
always
it's the same-
insist on writing something in.
I think of the same thing with like the Fantastic Four with Invisible Woman. We're like, we haven't figured out invisibility at all up to this point, but now you have it. Now we actually know how to do with clothes.
Exactly. Yeah, everything can be invisible. And then you get the little like aside where him and Liz are like obviously dating. They're like having problems, which I thought was like a weird storyline to add into this movie, which was supposed to be like a action comedy, I'd call it.
Yeah.
Kind of just a weird dynamic to set up at the beginning of the movie for me. I
But
guess.
again, it was like a follow up to Hellboy. To your point,
Right? Yeah, it was.
Earlier, right?
Where
It's like,
at the
one
end of
those
that
things
they kind of like actually got together, but like yeah, still.
Hey, if you watch number 1, you'll know kind of what's going on here.
Yeah, right. You definitely need to watch number 1. I feel like to
Yes.
to get on top of things quickly. So then they
ZeroCool's
get
HardDrive official recommendation.
Yeah, they get like the alarm starts going off when Jeffrey Tambor is basically talking to him like a child, like be discreet. I'll give you some Cuban cigars. Like he's just like he's a kid. Be discreet.
Like a shadow.
And then
No,
he gives
like
him one,
like
in
a
the night.
shadow, like a shadow in the night.
and then he gives him another one. So he keeps
Yeah.
He's like, so like whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so then they go to the auction site. I don't know. This is just a building, I guess.
Right.
Wasn't quite. Yeah, couldn't quite be
Yeah,
sure what it
they
was.
start walking around trying to figure out what's going on because they don't see anybody. They say smells.
Did you remember what their incognito vehicle is when they go places?
Yeah, garbage truck.
The garbage truck.
The garbage truck, yeah.
And they pull everything out of it. And I love that when they go places, like there's just one guy whose whole responsibility is to carry around like one of those large crates that you see at like music events, but it's just all of Hellboy's guns.
Yep, it's all the guns. Yep. All of his guns. Yeah, so then they go in there, they're doing like scans and stuff. Abe's using his hand, which is like I said, where you need to kind of have that like the previous
Prior
movie,
knowledge,
obviously, where you know that Abe has like things.
He can sense things, feelings.
I can't think of the word. Yeah, he can sense
like
things.
Empath through his hands.
Right.
Empath through contact, we'll call it.
But he can also do it through the air too, which is kind of goofy.
And then he's like, he says something like, "There's a lot of things in the walls" or something like that. And he's like, "Well, you." And they start talking about the Tooth Fairy, and he's like, "You should look at the floor." How did they not notice the floor before Abe says that? It's like 2 or 3 inches of what's essentially
blood, skin, goop.
And poop from these Tooth Fairies all over the floor. And he finally picks up his foot. And he's like, "Ah, man, like you didn't notice that squishing?"
Yeah,
that was strange.
The only thing they eat is teeth and bones. And they're like, why do they call it Tooth Fairy? It's like, oh, they attack the teeth first.
Yeah, they go after calcium, I think is what they go after. Like, yeah, they go after calcium.
Which I thought was like a kind of a neat little, a neat little twist. I know it was a little bit schlocky, but a neat little twist in the Tooth Fairy thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, most fairy tales are darker in the world, right?
It's like, but these aren't nice ones. Whoa.
Yeah, exactly. And then they all kind of like burst out all at once. Everyone starts getting attacked. They're biting everybody. A couple of the agents, who obviously the no-name agents, they're never really going to last long. They do yell some names, but obviously it's
the proverbial third man on the away crew.
Right, it's basically like, "Oh no, Pete!" As he's getting like completely engulfed by these Tooth Fairies in like 2 seconds. He's a skeleton.
It was Marble and Flint were the agents apparently on the thing.
Marble and Flint.
So they had code names, so we didn't even get actual names.
Yep.
So they kind of get eaten. That starts making Liz really mad after everyone's getting bitten up. She starts going like full on, I'm gonna flame on and burn everything. So Abe has to try to get to a safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, try to get to the safe.
Just before that, they're kind of in separate rooms, and Hellboy's in the room with the fertility god, and he's kind of getting messed up with the guy. And the thought process he gets to kill them all as they're eating up this agent's body is to push over the fertility god on top of them. I was like, these things are at least like somewhat smart, but like there's a little comedic moment where they're all sitting there screaming, looking at this fertility god like falling on top, and they go, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, and then just squishes a bunch of them. Yeah,
yeah. So I actually kind of thoroughly enjoyed the the little tooth fairies. I thought they were funny. They had their moments.
Yeah,
I thought they were neat little character design too.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were for sure. Yeah, the character design in this is phenomenal. Honestly,
Yes.
I
very
mean, I'll
much.
be honest. Yeah, I fanboy out over Guillermo Del Toro movie character designs. They're always so
definitely.
good.
I also wrote down because like all these tooth fairies obviously are flying all around, but like all of them only have pistols. Like you tell me that they're not prepared with like shotguns. Maybe might help
Yes,
a lot. They obviously would help more. But you all go in there with like 9mm and then HellBoy's big gun. Like I don't understand the thought process.
And I had to wonder, I mean, why are you even firing them? Like, it's at this point, you're probably missing 9 times out of 10.
They take out like
You're
one
not
or two
making a
here, and
dent.
it's like,
Yeah.
how many clips do you have? Like,
there's an entire
2,000?
swarm.
It's a huge swarm of thousands of these things.
You are not going to take them down. Try to find a better way of solving the situation.
Yep. And then kind of just before this, we kind of got a little bit past it. Like there was a moment where Abe kind of like braces Liz's character back, and he kind of like grabs her by the belly, and then he notices that she's pregnant, and she's like, "No, I'm not." And that's where you kind of like, I wonder if there's a connection to this later on. So like she kind of starts to turn on her fire a little bit. She has like a similar like Johnny Blaze kind of thing. If you're like a Fantastic Four person, where she can go get really like fire around her and everything. And she kind of like struggles to kind of get the fire going to begin with. So I was like, is that kind of like alluding to like changing and things in her body and like emotions kind of thing with the fire, or just because she's angry?
No, it's if I remember correctly from the first one, she can't actually control it most of the time. That's why she was with the Bureau in the first place, because she like burnt down an orphanage on accident before.
It's always an orphanage.
So when she was kind of like saying,
I think it was an orphanage. Yeah, so she's like. She's saying like
you control the flame.
Fire is mine. Fire is mine.
Yeah, she's like doing like a mantra to try to like control what she's doing, and then she's like, she tells HellBoy to get away from the window because she's about to do this explosion, and he like looks at the window and then stands more in front of it.
He gets this glint in his eye, like,
yeah,
girl, here I come.
Yeah, and then she blows it, and he goes flying out the window, and they play some weird song. I can't remember what song it. I don't even know what song it was, but some weird song.
Kind of like, as he's like a Guardians of the Galaxy-esque moment.
As he's falling, he hits the cop car. Everybody's kind of like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And then one of the tooth fairies tries to attack somebody, and he shoots it, which. He has this ridiculously huge gun firing at a tiny little pixie fairy. You're telling me that bullet stops?
Right.
That stops that bullet dead? No way. That thing goes through the crowd for sure.
Yeah, I definitely had to suspend the disbelief because they even show like the people behind the tooth fairy just like, oh
no, yeah.
Yeah.
And
then you get Tom Manning or Jeffrey Tambor come out and like, what have you done? You ruined me.
I think he's just like, I guess we're out now, or something like it, something along those lines. Some of the one-liners in here didn't hit the spot. I feel
but it definitely kind of sets the tone of like Hellboy's tired of being this hidden thing, and he's not necessarily a hero, but like he wants to be recognized for the things that he's trying to do. And like I think that's why he so badly just wanted to be like, can we just like be a thing so like people can feel good about us?
Yeah, he definitely wants to be out of the shadows for sure.
Yeah, and then it kind of shows up in the movie a little bit after this too, because he thinks it's going to be this big old fanfare of him being out, and then it's the complete opposite. Everybody's calling him a freak the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, pretty tough when you look like a traditional demon of the underworld.
Yeah, it's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You probably get away with it nowadays.
Maybe, yeah. Who's the guy? Knows? Then it cuts back to Prince Nuada going to the I don't know. They don't really ever like put a graphic up that says like what they're doing exactly.
No, he just went to go talk to his dad.
Well, I know, but like they never say like where they are. You know, like
no,
like in most movies, there's like a little thing on the bottom that says like he was in the underworld or whatever you want to call it. They just kind of like in a place. There's all these guards with humongous swords. And the Chamberlain is what he calls them.
Yeah, it just looks like an old warehouse kind of thing. I definitely thought that was weird, both the first time I watched it and this time watching it through, where it's just like this weird like boiler chamber looking kind of room that they're in.
Yeah, and the Chamberlain's telling him that he can't go see the king with the weapons, no matter who he is. And he does, and like that's fine. He's trying to be cool. He like spins to kill the Chamberlain, but like all of the people on the side, all they have to do is drop their swords, and he's like he'll be in 10 pieces. Like, like what did he kills the Chamberlain, but like, oh, you're dead probably. Like,
I mean, I only have to guess because he was royalty, and they're like, unless they get the command.
And then And then
Yeah.
you meet the sister, Princess Nuala.
Nuala and Nuala.
Nuala, yeah.
Not exactly the most inventive, but hey.
Yeah.
Where she's like, please, brother, because you find out later that they're connected. So obviously she doesn't want him to die either.
Yeah, they're
so.
like soul bound, I think is the easiest way to explain it.
Soul bound. So he's like, for you, sister, anything. Gives up his sword. Goes to talk to his dad, the king. I don't know. Do they say the king's name ever, or just call him the king?
I think they do. They do mention his name.
King Balor. I don't remember if they actually said that, and maybe in the story.
Yeah. They did mention it when they were doing the storybook thing with John
Okay.
Hurt. But
he looks
like,
old and rickety. I can tell you that. I mean, they don't really. This is where like they don't like get into the age of these things because like the books obviously talks about like ancient times. So the humans have obviously forgot about these pacts and these wars, but the elves and the fairies have obviously not because they're still in the the depths of the world. But how old are these elves?
He
well,
looked
what
like
I don't understand is that because they're like in the sewers, which I mean that in itself is weird.
Not this one. These guys are just like in a random warehouse. So this group wasn't in the sewers.
Well, no, but I mean the kind of sewer-esque.
Yeah,
really.
that's
Like when you look at look at the surroundings, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember the story where they're like, oh, the human folk get the fields or the human folk get the cities.
Get the cities and we get
and the fairy
trees.
kind get the forests.
Yeah.
So, but they never really cover like how they became so, I don't know, kind of what is the word I'm looking for? What is the word I'm looking for? Downtrodden, I guess.
Yeah,
right.
basically.
What would be how it seems, right?
Yeah, it definitely feels like things aren't going well for them.
Yeah, things aren't going well. Yeah, and that's what Prince Rada keeps trying to tell his dad. Like, look where we are. Look who we've become. We're just gonna die down here. He says that he wants to resurrect the Golden Army, and his dad's like, you absolutely cannot. And he was like, I'll have you killed then. And sends the most inept soldiers ever to attack him.
And I thought
they look pretty badass.
Well,
yeah, but like, and here's the thing that made me mad. They look badass. They have these giant swords. Okay, Princess Nuala steals 2 smaller swords off of one of the soldiers. Why wouldn't those soldiers, if they're trained, drop their big swords that are way slower than the smaller swords to fight on equal ground?
Because the big ones are cooler, my guy.
Well, and like going into the fight,
silly. That's silly tactics.
He asks his sister if she agrees with what's going on. But like to your point, if that's just where they're at, we're like, oh, he's gonna die. You could just turn and just stab the sister because she's already accepted the fact that
kill both of them.
She dies either way because they're so
that's true, actually.
No, so like
I mean that's very true. Yeah.
Like, are you good at this? Okay.
I was actually thinking about that.
yeah, that's very
like
true.
you don't have to fight him. You can literally just go and hit her in the face and you win.
Right.
And then they do ask the sister, like, are you okay with this judgment?
Yeah, are you okay with this judgment?
Yes.
And she says, yeah.
Yeah.
But and then here's a huge plot hole, I feel like, of this movie. There's 3 pieces to this crown. You make the whole crown, you get the army.
Mm.
You find out after he kills the king. The king has one on his chest, and then the sister also has a piece on her. Yeah. You're telling me that you have 2 pieces of this crazy crown that brings the apocalypse, basically, of these mechanical golden army, and 2 pieces are always together?
I wouldn't call it all the time so much as a plot misstep. And that, well, I mean, they did cover it in the beginning, right? They said 2 pieces will go to the fairy kind, and 1 piece will go
to the fairy kind, not just to the elves.
No, it did.
The assumption probably was royalty.
They did say to themselves. They said he said 1 for the humans and 2 for himself. So it does state at the beginning that he's keeping both of them.
Okay, I agree. Like, keep them in a safe in the bottom of a lagoon. Then don't keep them on your body.
Hey, were mistakes made? Absolutely, but they did cover it at least.
What a dumb mistake.
I'm sure the humans were losing. They're like, all right, I'll take what I can get.
Yeah, I also thought the way that the elves die is interesting. How they do it, where they turn to stone.
I thought it
was it stone or wood? I couldn't quite.
I think it was stone because it broke the crown piece off like it was stone. I feel like or like marble type of thing.
Yeah, it's kind of like cream colored. Yeah, just I wasn't quite sure what they were.
And then he looks back. His sister's gone. Then we cut back to the bureau, and this is where Tom Manning starts talking about Johann Kraus is going to come and take on team leader.
Well, he didn't mention him at first. He's just like, hey, they're sending somebody down from the
because he has the papers that Hellboy keeps trying to see.
Yeah.
No face, no nothing. Yeah.
And he says something about like he's German, and Hellboy's like, let me see. I don't like Germans. They make me nervous or something like that.
Like, well, because like weren't the Germans the one that tried to get him out of the hell portal or whatever in the first one?
Yeah, it was World War II. It was Nazi occult scientists, whatever you want to call them, that actually got him out of there. So yeah, and then you get introduced to Johann Kraus, who's I was trying to think before we started. Did they actually explain what happened to him? How he became? Because he says that John Hurt helped him make the suit so he could walk and talk and like normal to people.
Yeah.
But he's like just a gas. But I don't know that they ever actually explained because he's like a ghost. I don't know. He's like a gas form, but they never said like how he lost his body but retained everything else. Basically, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then we have Seth MacFarlane, of course, doing the voice of Johann Kraus. And
is that what
the way I describe it is Stewie Griffin doing Nazi soldier.
Basically, yeah. Very, very German.
That's what the voice sounded like in my head.
Very, very heavily German accent. Yeah, it was overdone for sure. Yeah, so he comes in. He's gonna try to whip HellBoy into shape or keep him in line, however you wanna.
It's kind of like a weird in between because you kind of assume like the way they're talking, like Jeffrey's talking as if like he's just going away, but like Jeffrey stays there the whole time and basically, he just like joins the team.
Yeah, he's always saying like the head honchos are coming for him all the time.
Yeah,
like pretty much the entire time.
They don't quite cover at this point, but Jeffrey Tambor becomes like almost not quite a member of the team, but like apparently a subordinate to the Johann Kraus character.
Yeah, but he still treats him like hierarchy. That's the thing that was like throwing me off is like who is the real boss here? Because even when they start doing things, he makes sure to keep on including Jeffrey and everything they're doing, which is a small piece of the story. But the first thing they do with Kraus is they grab one of the tooth fairies and they're trying to get some information. And like HellBoy's got this little trinket that he wants to try, and Kraus is like, "No, I got something." I was laughing quite a bit at this in the moment.
The tooth fairy like yelling at him.
The tooth fairy comes back to life and he turns to HellBoy and he's just like screaming at him and everything. And he's basically like, "What do you say? Basically, you have no manners and you're a brute.
You're a big dumb brute."
Yeah, you're a big dumb brute. He's like, "I'll smash you."
So he's just having like this like fight off with everything and like gets a little bit of information as far as like where the Golden Army is placed and everything. But I did think
he only finds out where the tooth fairy was bought, and it was the
He's like, "Where?
Market.
Yeah, where do you remember?"
Which this little line here was ridiculous to me because he was like, it smelled like troll and it was really busy, and he was like, "Oh, the troll market." Like it was almost like a duh moment. Like,
right.
Well, no, he said because I think he said he heard like troll speech going on or something like that. Like
I could have sworn he said he smelled it or something, but it was just
they said he heard a troll-like language.
Yeah, it was like obviously some kind of troll market. Like it was like, okay, good job, Johann Kraus.
It's probably like all signs would have pointed there eventually.
A peculiar troll language was at the last place he was at.
Yeah,
interesting.
And then they start talking about how they don't know where the troll market is. No one's ever been able to find it, and he says, "I have something," or you didn't have me before, and you
never tried it with me.
He brings these super rare sort of goggles, I guess you would call them. They have a name for them. I can't remember what they're called though.
Yeah, basically it's
Abe is like super impressed that he has them. I don't
magic binoculars.
Basically magic binoculars that let you see past the glamour of the fairy folk.
Right.
And then they see a hag, I think is what they call it.
There's a cat, a little cat lady they go up to see.
Yeah, she eats cats. I think they call it a hag.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think it was that.
Yeah, and then they find out that she eats cats, and like they start chasing her a little bit, and then
first HellBoy starts freaking out because Johann Kraus wants to just follow her, and he's like freaking out because he really likes cats. Going back to the first one, and he's like,
"Do it."
He's like, "She's gonna eat him."
I can't do it, Kraus.
And Kraus is like, "Just hold your position. I can't do it. She's gonna eat that cat. I can't let her eat the cat." And like while they're yelling at each other, she cannot hear them. Like they're not being quiet.
the old what you're whispering behind the dumpster, nobody can hear.
Right.
Shtick. So many movies.
So many movies. That is hilarious. And then he eventually does stop her from does the articulated jaw thing like a snake and starts opening out like she's gonna eat the cat whole, and then he stops her.
Yep.
And she turns around because she looks like a little old lady, but in the fancy binoculars, she's like a weird. I don't even know how to describe it.
She's
It's
like,
too
"Can
hard.
I help you?"
Too
Little
hard to describe
troll
what she is.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
troll thing.
I thought it.
How
I
do you
thought it was,
see me? I don't understand.
Well, I thought it was funny too when like Hellboy was giving him grief in the beginning about whether or not, like, how do you know these goggles even work? And you see Abe look up and he looks at Hellboy with the goggles on, and like through the goggles, Hellboy has his real horns stretched
Yep,
out all
you
the
see
way,
the
and
you
there's
see
fire.
the true form of Hellboy,
and I think
which
that
you
was
only saw in the
another.
first one.
I was gonna say, I think that was another reference to the first one. Which,
Mhm.
if you didn't watch it, you're probably thinking like, "Well, what is that? Somebody please explain."
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
watch the
probably,
first.
yeah, definitely, yeah. Hellboy's true form, yeah, pretty crazy. And then, for some reason, they don't. The creature, that's the old lady, doesn't like canaries.
Yeah, something about
Like,
like
yeah,
they peck their eyes out or something.
Way doesn't like canaries. Like to a point where they just show it to her, and she's like, "Fine, I'll show you it then." Like they didn't even
And
do anything. It's in a cage. Like
I should
they
have
didn't
looked this
put
up,
it
but
on
maybe
you. They didn't like make it chirp at you. They literally just hold the cage up, and she's like, "Oh, fuck!" Like they tortured her for 25 minutes.
I had to think maybe there was some myth around hags with this one, so I wasn't quite
Possibly,
sure.
maybe it was that. But
Because, yeah, it
I thought
seemed
that was
awful
pretty funny,
specific.
actually. Yeah, she was just like, fine, and then she brings him to the troll market, or they brings him to a door, I guess,
A
is
locked
where
door,
that-
yeah.
a locked door.
Abe says he can't really figure it out because there's too many inscriptions on it with different languages, and then Kraus just goes full smoke mode and just unlocks
Yeah, but
the door.
before that, he's like, let's have her open it, and she doesn't want to open it because obviously she'd like get in trouble or whatever.
Yeah,
And then they're kind of arguing back and forth, and Kraus is gonna like interrogate her or something, and you get that Hellboy punch basically where he was just like fed up with the conversation, so he just punches with his rock fist, which I felt like was funny this time, but this joke replayed like 4 times in this movie.
Yeah, and it's like
where
the
he
same
does
old
like
line of
he does the punch, like just he gets sick of it and he's just like blah.
Well, it's like the same kind of thing every time too. It goes like, "Are you sure you don't want to say anything?" "No, I'm not saying anything." "Okay." "Ow!"
Yeah,
and he like looks at her. He's like, looks at Kraus, looks at him or something like that. He's like, "What the heck?" He's like, "She said she wasn't gonna say anything."
Right. Yeah, so then he does his like smoke thing and gets inside the gears to unlock the machine, the mechanics of the machine, and they get into the troll market, which is full of obviously like Guillermo Del Toro probably had a lot of big hand in all the creatures and monsters and things that are walking around in there because it's definitely not all CGI.
This was mentioned in something I read, but yeah, it was kind of like almost reminding me of Star Wars Cantina scene. You know, like hey, look at all the variety of fairy folk here.
Yep,
yeah,
and then
I definitely got that vibe.
There's a good foreshadowing of a ridiculous like rock crusher-esque machine that's for nothing basically besides being foreshadowing that someone's going to go into it.
Well, one of the people or merchants or whoever it was stuck something into it. I can't remember what it was.
Well, I thought maybe it was like a garbage disposal type of thing, but it was like this is grinding up random. It was like this is obviously going to be used later. Yeah, we're not just showing it to show it. We didn't build this giant spiked rock crusher for nothing.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, so they start kind of walking around. They go to 2 guys to start talking to them who did they say why they went to him, or they just went to Johann Krauser just started talking to people?
No, so they kind of split up. So Abe's kind of walking around on his own, and he catches the princess like kind of like hiding herself a little bit, and he sees the sigil on her wrist, if you would. So then he's ended up chasing her for a while, but they were showing photos of the tooth fairies. And they're saying, has anybody bought these recently?
Right.
Yeah. So he's talking to like the one guy that looks like he's got shaving cream on his face. So like he's getting a shave.
Yeah, like he was getting a shave.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a troll guy, with like a weird baby thing on him.
Yeah. So then he was, he's going back and forth. This guy, he does that thing again where he's just like, are you not going to say anything? I'm not telling you. And punches that big guy out of the way. And then he basically just like interrogates the other guy into getting what he wants, and then he's like, sorry kiddo. He's like, I'm not a baby, I'm a tumor. And he lays back down. I was like, what?
Yeah, very weird. And then he goes to Abe following the princess. She goes into like a I thought of it like a bank, maybe
it was like a
library or something,
because
the guy's kind of got
the guy's like, hey, you can't be here. We're closed or something, and she shows him that symbol, and he's like, ooh, follow me, and he like goes through. I don't. It was like a weird hiding, like not even like a hiding spot. It was like through
Crams a-
paper.
Punches a hole in the wall. Yeah,
punches a hole
I
in
think
the
it was
wall,
a
basically.
cool weird character design of this guy too, because
yeah.
he
A little
had like
headpiece.
he had like a cathedral on his head almost.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah,
mini
like a
cathedral. It was-
full cathedral on his head.
and
Yep.
it looked like his head. I don't think it was like a crown or anything.
No,
It
it
No, I
just
think
like
it was.
his
I think it
head.
was part of his. I think it was part of his head. Yeah, like that was his skull.
Yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, kind of like one of those cool off the wall character designs.
Yeah, and then Abe kind of walks in on her, and they kind of have this back and forth about like, who are you? Why are you chasing me? And then they find out that they both kind of have like a similar ability because she puts
Similar
her-
empathy ability where
yeah,
they can
she
transfer
touches,
thoughts.
Yeah, like, hey, like if you're telling the truth, like show me. And then he kind of says himself back. He's like, I won't lie. While you were learning about me, I was also learning about you. And then big old Wink breaks in the door.
Yeah, Wink. Yeah, they kind of showed Wink kind of like following them too a little bit, and then Wink breaks through the door. Abe tells her to run, and he gets beat up.
Yeah, I literally
Just
in
like
this
in the window, he's like getting thrown this way, thrown that way, smash, punch, then gets chucked through the window.
Only thing I could think to myself was like, he must be like extra durable or slippery
Very
or something
durable,
that
yeah.
like he could handle that because
honestly,
pretty brutal.
in this moment, I was trying to think back to the first one. I was like, what makes Abe powerful other than water? Because I feel like he's probably going to get his butt kicked here. So he's mobile. I mean, that's the main thing. But it's like,
you get that awesome scene of like the little bit of like the contortionist Abe kind of like going this way, going that way, diving under. Like, I'm faster than this big, huge dude, even though I'm not stronger. Like doing this dive, doing that dive, turn in this way. That was pretty cool, honestly.
In the first one, they didn't do a whole lot with water either, where you kind of get to show off like Abe getting to be in his element.
Yeah, there was some big water scenes with
okay.
the main bad guy thing.
Yeah,
I think one of the like big cruxes of the first one too was like getting an apparatus for Abe so he could
be
out
on
on
land. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so then you kind of get Abe kind of runs away with the princess, HellBoy and Wink kind of sitting there fighting, and HellBoy's just not taking it seriously as usual. Like he's sitting there with his cigar, shooting at him and everything, and then they just kind of like have like a best friends moment where they just continue to punch each other in the face. And then
it was actually it was a decent fight between the two of them.
Yeah, and then they kind of have like their moment where they both have a large, oversized right hand. They punch each other, and the metal one breaks. And then I did think it was really funny. Like this ogre is just sitting there, like kind of yelling at him, like you broke. Like you can't understand it, but you can get every part of like you broke my hand, man. What the heck?
Yeah, because HellBoy says something about like, are you done or something like that, and he's like, well, you broke my hand, so no, we're not done yet, like type of thing.
Yeah. And then like he kind of keeps on going, and like to your point, they're standing right in front of this crusher, and he's like, "I wouldn't do that." And the ogre like
foreshadowing pays off,
slings at him, and he gets stuck in that little crusher, and then he gets eaten up. I did think
there was a moment there where I thought HellBoy was actually gonna like break the chain and stop him from going in there.
You know, just this little tap on the chain,
like
we're both how strong it is.
Yeah, like we're both monsters, pat on the back type of thing. Like I'm not gonna kill you, but missed that opportunity.
And then of course they cut away right before it happens. You just kind of get this like explosion of like blue type goo going about.
I did think it was funny when he got up mid fight, he pulled a tooth out of it. He's like, because the ogre hit him so hard and knocked a tooth out.
Right. Like, and then these little I don't even know what you would call them. Little made creatures. I've never like to have like two heads start like start like talking like they're spreading what happened to Wink, basically.
They remind me of the worm guys from Men in Black.
Yeah, a little bit similar to that, yeah.
And I'm noticing like a kind of a color and design aesthetic going through all these creatures that seem to like, I guess for lack of a better word, report to the elves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like they're all kind of like creamish colored, almost look like wooden or stone-ish. And,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so they're like sending the message. They go get to Prince Nuada with the message that Wink died, and he like has like a full blown like, I'm gonna kill whoever this person is.
Well, and then like I thought it was funny. So like they cut back to HellBoy in the group too, and like they didn't run really far away from where they were. They just went back into like the meat shack area back before they go down to where like the troll market is. So like you got all this information, this very important map, and you got this princess now. Somebody is chasing you, or was, right?
Yeah. Johan Kraus is like, we got to get out of here now because of what you did. And then, they kind of start running. And then
they turn and like
Nuada catches up to him, and he he whispers into a green bean and says, "Kill them," and then he throws it. And then, like I said, these one-liners where Hellboy is just like, it's just a magic jumping bean or something like. It's just like
yeah, because it was. Yeah, I hated how long this drew out too, because like she knows what it is, and like they're watching for a solid like 10 seconds. Where it's like, what is it doing? She's like, she knows this is like a very powerful thing, and they watch it kind of roll. It's like, grab it. Like,
don't let it touch the water.
Yeah, she's like, it's going for water. Like, you let that thing roll for like 15 seconds.
Yeah, it rolled by you guys, over this thing, over that thing. Like, grab it then, Abe. Hey, fish guy.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is like you have the one guy go grab it that is water. He's the water guy. Like that didn't make sense to me.
It's no good against sewer grates, so apparently.
No good against sewer grates. So then that thing starts like becoming ginormous. I think they call it a forest god, I believe.
Yeah, it's an elemental, a forest god, something like that. Yeah, there's a couple of the terms.
So that starts becoming, and then it gets like a big glowing thing on its head, starts destroying a bunch of buildings. Hellboy asks for a certain gun. I can't remember what he calls it. It's not
Big
Old
Baby.
Faithful. Big Baby, yeah. Asks for Big Baby to come. So the Bureau shows up with Big Baby, which is like a huge rocket launcher. I don't know what you'd call it. Big shotgun.
Yeah,
shotgun. I think it was just like a shotgun almost.
Yeah, shotgun shells, yeah.
So he's loading that up. The thing's still destroying stuff. And then you get this scene where like this mom's trying to get out of the car and get her baby, but then they like this scene was set up so ridiculous to me because Abe and Liz take the lady away from her kid, but they had plenty of time to grab the kid and give the mom the baby before all of this happened. But instead, Hellboy gets the baby, and you get this ridiculous scene where Hellboy's trying to save the baby or hold on to the baby the entire time that he's fighting this tree god
thing.
Yeah. Which he never actually like fires until the end, but like he's like dodging and dive and dodge like on dodgeball.
It was just one of those like you could tell it was one of those like they just wanted to do a fun prop fight.
But it was like a silly.
What if he was holding a baby?
But it was a baby though. Like it was a weird scene to be like.
The way I took it, it was like trying to show a maturing moment because of the whole Liz being pregnant thing was like him taking care of a baby. I think that's what they were trying to go for with that was like.
Maybe,
like he cares for a baby kind of thing. So like maybe showing a maturing moment. Like that's the way I took it. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but like that's
and then
like
he ends up on a neon sign. Johan Kraus tells him to shoot the glowing thing. He has a word for it, but I can't think of it.
The ganglia. Shoot the ganglia.
The ganglia, yeah.
What?
The ganglia.
Shoot him in the head.
Shoot him in the head.
And then you get a little bit of a scene with Hellboy and Nuada where Prince Nuada's like, look at them. They're not like you. Look at that thing. It's the last thing. It's the last of its kind, just like you. Like you get a little bit of a scene like, we're both monsters. What are you doing helping the humans, basically?
Right. It's pretty cool though, because like when this thing dies, it like its head blooms into a flower and it starts like growing.
There's flower moss everywhere because obviously Hellboy has to shoot him because it's coming after everybody to kill him.
But for some reason when he gets ready to shoot him, he takes the baby. He's like, hang on a second. He launches the baby in the air, loads the gun, comes back down. Like, okay, he was launching the child.
There was a line that I wrote down too. I was like, this is like these lame one-liners because he goes, "You woke the baby." Like, come on, Hellboy, what are we doing here? We don't need that.
Is it better or worse
him to be like the next action star?
Was he better or worse than the kid from It?
Questionable. There were some pretty bad ones in Hellboy. I can tell you that.
There was some
pretty lame ones in there. But yeah, so he gets down, he kills the tree god, it blooms, Nuada disappears, he has the baby, he's like, oh, here's the baby, and then the lady's like, give me my baby, like, you're a demon, basically. And he's like, oh, I was just trying to help. Like, you kind of weren't helping, because this entire time, you could have ran over to that mom, because you had plenty of time to just give her the baby. Like, I kind of get where the mom's coming from. You were, like, throwing the baby up in the air with your tail, and shooting a big gun around it, like, he had plenty of time to, like, give the mom the baby and then go back to the fight.
Yeah, and then you get that peak of them like being the freaks kind of moment, and how he's kind of like why they hate who they are or what they are.
There were these two guys specifically. I remember this one where they walked by and he's like, "Yeah, are you Hellboy? God, you're ugly."
Yeah. I know I'm ugly. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
And then so they kind of make it back to their little fortress, I guess, if you would. And then you kind of get this weird interaction of like Abe and Princess Nuala kind of like showing interest in to each other. Like she starts reading his books a little bit. He starts talking to her, and like you can tell he just doesn't handle women or just like affection very well because
He's
just
an
panics.
awkward dude.
Yeah.
But I also, in this scene, she tells Abe that her and her brother are connected. What I've seen, he can see. So he knows, and we are, and he doesn't react at all.
Right.
This is like hit the panic button moment. If he knows,
I mean,
he knows where
she's
you
basically
are.
saying like he could be on his way right now, or
He's
can be
probably
here right now.
on his way right now to kill everybody because he saw everywhere we went.
Right.
Maybe do something, Abe.
Yeah, but also like it shows a moment later too, because she ends up hiding, because he does break in, and like she hides her little gold piece in a book, and like he just can't find what book it's in. So
yeah, because I think it's just because she's like hiding it, because he does know that it's like blue and that it's a book of poems and something along those lines. But then you get a little scene in the locker room where Hellboy's having a beer, and Johann Kraus comes in to like basically yell at him for not following the rules.
Yeah.
Telling him that he's doing a bad job and that he's too crazy and too angry all the time. And he's like, "You have one problem." He's like, "Tell me what it is." He's like, "You can't control your anger," or something like that. And he just punches him in the glass,
because he
in the glass container that he's in.
Yeah, because he started talking about the old man, and he gets really pissed off because he brings up the old man. And he punches him in the glass, and he's just like, you're fine. You're fine."
Yeah, he looks,
right, buddy?
I wrote down, he looks just like a kid who accidentally broke their toy. Because he's just like, and he's like, Johann?
Yeah.
And this is, I feel like, because Johann, you see that he comes out and he's like actually fine. He doesn't need the suit to be alive. But he like plays it out where he's like, so is he like playing out that he was actually dying, and then he like takes control over the lockers and just starts beating the crap out of Hellboy with the locker doors.
You get this fun slapstick locker interlude. I actually appreciated it.
Where he just starts beating him up,
fun, lighthearted moment.
And then Johann Kraus, like in a gas form, just kind of walks away, like
just whistling.
I was thinking some like he was singing some like German marching song or something, or some like little German waltz.
Yeah, just something ridiculous like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then he he finds Abe. Well, Hellboy's obviously like half in the bag at this point because he's like slurring his words, drinking a bunch of beers, and Abe is holding a CD of love songs that he wants to play. He was
listening to a song before Hellboy opened the door,
and
then when he opens the door, all of a sudden some classical music comes on, and he's like, "What are we listening to, Abe?"
Yeah.
And then he turns.
Some Vivaldi. I believe.
He turns the music back on. And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna need a beer for this." And then the two of them just get absolutely wasted.
Yeah, no, he hands him a beer, and Abe's like, "My body's a temple. I can't do that." He's like, "Have a beer," and he's like, "It'll throw off my body's pH or something like that."
Your body's a plate.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Fine, I'll have a beer." And so they start drinking. What's the song they start singing? I can't remember what it is.
Can't live without.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah. Can't live without you. So they do that, and then you get like a hilarious. They're so drunk. They're both singing. They're drunk. And then they're finding more beers in Hellboy's little apartment in there, and trying to be quiet.
Hellboy, I've only got one more.
He's like, "Shh, wake Liz." And then they both have like a conversation right next to her head. There's no way she doesn't wake up.
Well, and they kind of go to this sappy like, "Oh, she's it, Abe. She's the one."
Yeah.
And Abe's like, "Oh, I know how you feel."
Yeah.
And then
has Abe just met this girl that he fell in love with?
Has Abe just met her, and then he's like, "You have to know things. You have to know this stuff." And Liz finally wakes up after like they have a 5-minute conversation by her, and she's like, "Abe, you can't tell him."
Yeah, because he's like basically telling him why he needs to mature. And then you kind of cut back to the princess where she realizes that her brother made it in. She tries to.
She like holds her. Isn't that where she like holds her hands up and like, "Oh, he's here."
Yeah,
like
that. Yeah.
And then she opens the map. She burns it. And like this is the other thing I thought was kind of goofy too. He's like, "Oh yeah." Because he breaks in, she burns the map, she throws the metal casing for the map in the fire as well. And he looks at her, he's like, "It's fine, you burned that." He's like, "The case is actually the important part, that's actually the map." And he rolls it on the table. I was like, that's the most poorly hidden map ever. If it's just on the outside of the case.
Yeah, but if nobody knows that that's the map, they just thought it was ornate drawings. I mean, if the only way to see it is to do the.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to be like really technical here, she should know everything he knows in a sense, right?
Right. Yeah.
He seems to have pretty intimate knowledge of what this thing is.
Yeah,
like,
their whole connection
immediately grabs it and finds a piece of paper and rolls it.
Yeah, their whole connection is a little bit off sometimes.
It's shaky,
also.
for
it's
sure.
A little bit shaky.
Yeah.
So then, Abe breaks in. Nuada threatens to hurt his sister.
Well-
At this point, they don't really know that they're that connected. Like connected in like if one gets hurt, the other. Or no, Abe does know because he tells Hellboy he can't hurt the prince.
Yeah, midway through the fight, yeah. But like, I did think it was funny that before that, the way that she like notifies everybody is she just presses the emergency button that's on the wall,
the emergency button on the wall. Yeah,
like a fire escape. But yeah, so then you kind of get this. I kind of liked how they did the little CGI here with this, where like he's got the knife on her face and it's still reflecting onto his face instead.
Yep. So then they have a fight. Hellboy's obviously drunk, trying to fight Prince Nuada, who's not drunk and very good at fighting with his sword spear thing. And he basically getting his butt kicked because he also can't hurt Nuada because he'll hurt Nuala. And yeah, he like looks back at Abe and Liz, and then he gets Nuada says a line like, "I'm sure at one point in your life you wondered if you were immortal." And he stabs.
Now you are.
Yeah, and he did. Now you are, and he stabs with the spear and like breaks a piece off of the spear. And then he's gone basically as Hellboy falls. Nobody know, and it's like nobody saw where he went somehow. I didn't understand this part. Hellboy falls, Prince Nuada's gone, and like all the agents rush in, like, "Oh my gosh, where did he go?"
Well, he'd killed a lot of the guards outside.
Like,
I assume he had
smoke bomb.
some sort of. I assume he had some sort of like exit plan from the beginning.
But yeah, so they're trying to heal Hellboy. Abe's trying to pull the spear chunk out, and every time he touches it, it goes farther into his heart, and it's hurting him. So they can't pull it out. So they have to try to figure out where Nuada is. Abe, everyone's looking for this other crown piece. Abe finds it, and then like Johann Kraus and Tom Manning are like going over plans and things, and it's so obvious that Abe has the piece in this scene because he like walks in with it and then he kind of hides it, and Tom Manning's like, "Did you find anything?" And then he like slowly moves his hands to his back. It's like, Abe, you're being so obvious.
He's not a very good liar.
He's like, no, I don't. We haven't found it yet. And it's like, it's obviously Abe has it. Like, please, somebody just be like, can you show me what's behind your back, Abe?
And Tom and Kraus like, well, as long as he doesn't have the piece, I think we're okay.
Yeah.
We just got to go after him.
Yeah. And then they decide to go after him, like, obviously, like, screw the Bureau. We're going to do whatever we want. And Johann Kraus stops him. And nobody knows that Abe has the piece except for Abe at this point. Like,
well, there was a foreshadowing scene in the office after Tom Manning left where Kraus, he pulls something out of his pocket and he kind of like rubs it in his hands, and it looks like some sort of little velvet pouch.
Yeah, like that.
They don't quite say what it is.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that pouch ends up being rings.
Correct.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
going to say this was like the foreshadowing scene, like where you get like, okay, there's something going on with Kraus, not quite sure what it is yet.
Yeah, they're talking about stealing a plane, going to where they need to go, which is like in Scotland, I believe.
Yeah, Scotland
Hills. I think somewhere in Scotland, and then Johann Kraus stops them.
Ireland.
Ireland? It might be Ireland.
Where's the Giants Causeway? Because they mentioned the Giants Causeway.
I think it might. It's Ireland. Maybe it's. I don't know. It's one of those places.
It's Ireland.
I don't know.
Let me look this up.
Anyway, Johann Kraus stops him. He gives a little speech about doing things for love. This is where I think he kind of mentions how he ended up the way he was, but that's a longer story for another time or something like that.
Something about like, I loved her, but she's why I am this way or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, this was the result. Like,
this was the result.
I'm this way because of what happened to them.
Yeah, but that's another story or something like that for another time. And then he's like, screw the Bureau, let's take a plane or something like that. So they hop on a plane to the Giants Causeway. They're kind of just like walking through a little bit of mountains and hills of wherever wherever Houseman figures out where we're at.
It was Ireland. So Giants Causeway in Ireland.
So they're like walking in
geological
Ireland. They're walking in Ireland, and a little
legless troll.
A legless troll, a goblin. I think it's a goblin because I do believe he talks about building the Golden Army. So I think they were goblins.
You figure out like he's the goblin.
Yeah, he's the goblin. Yeah.
Yeah, he has no lower half, and he's like going around in a wagon.
Yeah,
he's like, what? And he seems like he likes trinkets apparently. Yeah, he was like saying like, oh, what do you got for me?
Yeah, what do you got for me?
And someone's like, I have a belt.
Yeah, Liz like, offers her belt.
I don't have any legs.
Yeah, he's I got this shiny belt, and he's like, I don't have any legs. And then she's like, I have magic eyes, and he's like, I have binoculars.
Yeah.
He's like,
I know what these things are called.
He's like, what's that shiny thing right there?
Boy.
I want that. And he's like, well, I can't take it out without killing him. And he's like, maybe I know somebody who can do this.
Yeah. And that's where
then they like trust him, and he like blows one of the 10 whistles on his chest.
Just this little magical whistle, it makes a little toot toot.
Yep. And a giant rock golem, whatever you want to call it, kind of pops up and makes an entranceway into what he says is the city that was there before they built the Golden Army, and when they built it, the city kind of like died for some reason.
There was like, he's like, curse befelleth when we
Yep.
built the Golden Army and
Yeah.
death and something, blah, blah, blah.
So then he takes only Liz and HellBoy into this room where I think I think they don't ever say a name of it.
They don't.
He
But I
calls
think,
it
like,
he calls it his friend who's been there for a long time, and then it says that it's always at the crossroads of HellBoy's life or death. So some kind of angel of death or some kind of thing like that.
It's assumed because it's an angel of death because he actually directly references, because this angel's like, yes, I can remove this.
Yes, yeah.
However, just know that if I remove this, that HellBoy is going to rise up one day and
his destiny is
he's going to fulfill his destiny as like the king of evil. Kind of.
Well, it's to destroy the earth. He's destined to destroy the earth.
Yeah.
And then and then the thing's like, so you must decide: is it him or the earth? And I wrote down pretty selfish choice. She chooses HellBoy.
But on the same token,
it's not Liz's place to decide the lives of billions of people.
Yeah,
but on the same token, it seems like it's gonna happen anyway if they unleash the Golden Army. So kind of rock in a hard place.
Yes, so but
maybe she was making a gamble, just like, I think this is gonna work out better.
Well, and she says that too. She's like, you're gonna pay for this, and she's like, you'll feel this pain the most when his destiny comes true.
Yeah, you'll feel it the most.
And she's like, I'll figure that out when we get there, I guess, or something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. And then she's like, pull it out of him, and it's like, I already did. Ha ha. And then like gives that to the goblin, and then it's like, give him a reason to wake up or to live now.
Yeah.
And then she finally tells him that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he wakes up, completely healed, no scar, no nothing. Basically, did he even wake up with the bandages on?
I think it was covered in the first one, but doesn't he have kind of like slight regenerative powers?
Yeah, something like that. And then
I just assumed like,
yep.
I mean, as long as the wound is not some magical weapon, which I thought that maybe this was.
And then he's like, let's go get Nuada. And so the goblin takes him to where the Golden Army is stage. That's where he says the 70 on 70 or 70 times 70. Which is, what is that, 4,900?
And I know it's like just a pet peeve of mine, but he said it weird. He's like 70 times 70 soldiers.
Yeah, something weird like that, yeah.
It's 70 soldiers 70 times.
70 soldiers 70 times, yeah.
70 times 70 soldiers.
Yep. So then, Nuada is in there, and he's threatening Nuala, and he knows that Abe has the piece. For whatever reason.
Well, and I think he knows that Abe cares for the sister.
Yeah.
And that's why he's going after her. So like the whole time they get in there and he's like, do you have what I want? And then is either Krause or HellBoy speaks up and he's like, I wasn't talking to you. And Abe leans forward and he's like, here you go.
Yeah, they're all like, no, Abe, what are you doing?
Yeah. I did think it was also funny too. Like right before they go in there, the goblin at the door tells them like, it's very important that the Golden Army doesn't wake up. They're in there for like 10 minutes and the army wakes up. And I bet you that guy's just like, really?
Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah.
Well, and Abe tosses it over like some like boy with a school crush. Just,
yep.
Oh,
yeah. Here you go for love.
And he turns like, you would do the same thing for Liz.
Yep. And then so he puts the crown on. Golden Army wakes up. He commands the machines to kill the people. Obviously, he says, "Does anybody challenge my throne?" No one says anything. I get like later he does obviously say it. HellBoy challenges him. Why doesn't he challenge him in that moment?
Yeah, immediately before they
move.
I
know we want to get a fight with all the Golden Army, and obviously that's why. But at that moment in time, he could have challenged him, and we wouldn't even have the fight with the Golden Army.
One quick thing I want to cover. I liked the level of detail they did with like the gear work and everything. I think it was cool, like this clockwork robots, but I couldn't quite get like, okay, all these gears starting up and this mechanism is like bringing these things to life. It never really makes sense to me.
Kind of thing?
They're not attached. Is a wireless power? I have no idea. I just have to assume magic. But then again, why do you need all these gears and stuff?
Because also, like, as they get into the fighting, they like cut through the gold, but then like they're indestructible, so the gold comes back together, which means that it has a heating source to make the gold come back together, but but powered down enough that it doesn't melt it all the time. Magic is all you could say. Like, if you get too far,
like I said, I appreciated the detailed gear work they did.
Too deep
in
off
the
the
animation.
ledge.
Yeah, if you dive too deep off the cliff, there's no coming back. So just say it's magic.
You lost me at
Magic. Magic
Yeah.
robot guys.
Yeah,
No, fair. It's just-
you probably lost me, Casey, when it starts with the main character is a demon from hell who shaves his horns off.
I just thought this was a National Geographic documentary this entire time.
I did think it was
disappointed.
interesting that during this fight, like Kraus gets kind of punched in the face, and then he just like takes over one of the Golden Army pieces.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. He and it turns blue instead of like red, orange, and then he starts fighting. Obviously, Hellboy, they're all just fighting. They're actually taking these things out. So these things aren't like warriors in the sense that they're like, like very quick movements and stuff. They're basically just
tear
like
them apart.
you can't break them. Obviously,
they're just like an unstoppable force.
Yeah, they break
just
them,
kind of blood.
but they go back
almost.
together. Yeah.
They kill an entire room full of these things, and then they all just start like piecing themselves back together. The parts start melted back together, and it's like, oh crap. So then I feel like he remembers that you can challenge, and Hellboy says
from the story.
Yeah.
The professor was reading it, yeah.
He says, I'll challenge him, and he says, you can't challenge, you're not royalty, and he says, and the sister says, no, he's Anung Unrama, the son of the fallen or something like that.
I love this little legal loophole moment, like, but
wait,
just you wait. He's actually this.
Very A Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
At the end where he's like, he's not actually royalty. He's like, I went back 17 generations and he is royalty, actually.
See, right here on this piece of paper, he is.
Right here. He's a Nungung Rama. Son of the fallen one.
So then you can kind of get this, obviously the prince gets his frustration in his face, like, seriously? My entire army, all this build up for just like, I got to fight this guy now.
Yeah. And then they start fighting with swords. Way different fight when, Hellboy's not blasted drunk.
Also, why are you accepting a weapon from him in the first place? But still, like, because he throws him a sword.
Because it's honor.
It's supposed to be like honorable combat.
I know.
You're honor bound for the challenge. You can't ignore the challenge, so you have to play. And then you get a cool kind of fight where they're like fighting inside of these gears that are rotating, and he falls down this gear and it comes up here. He goes down that gear. He kind of rotates.
Actually, shout out to the fight choreographer for this movie, because I thought the fight scenes were actually. Like the live action type fight things are pretty solid. Yeah.
And then there's a point where Nuada's doing like some flips and Hellboy actually hits him in the arm, and then Nuala starts bleeding out, and then basically Hellboy starts winning, obviously, knocks Nuada on the ground, has the sword to his neck. Nuada wants him to finish it off, and he's like, nah, I'm not killing you today.
No, he's like,
I
win, you live.
From him anyway. And then Nuada's gonna do the thing that all villains do. Like, why do we need a villain arc where they're gonna stab a person in the back? I don't know why we needed it, but and then he's like, he gets stopped, and I thought he actually got stabbed. He actually got stabbed in the back, but it's Nuala stabs herself to stop her brother from killing Hellboy.
Kind of a big weakness there. I thought to myself, like, man.
Yeah. If your sister's mad at you, you're kind of screwed.
Kind of want to be nice to your sister more.
Yep. And then so you get that whole scene. For some reason, she dies like quite a bit before him, which I thought was really weird. Like she turns to the marble stone, and like he still has like 3 to 5 minutes of scene time before he turns.
And he also kind of gets this like anti-hero's death scene.
Yeah.
With like, some like a nice Shakespearean like monologue as he's dying.
It's just high latency. She hasn't updated her Wi-Fi recently.
Yeah.
The stab hasn't reached him yet.
Yeah, I guess not. You get that whole thing where he's telling Hellboy, like they are going to turn on you one day, like this is going to happen. And then for some reason he doesn't get a nice little, turn to stone and be a statue. He gets a fall to your knees and break into 100 million pieces.
Yeah. For a moment there, I thought like, oh yeah, he's just gonna turn into like a nice solid statue that's just gonna be sitting there, right? It's like, no,
nope, we're gonna break him apart. We don't give a crap. And then Liz comes over, and apparently the crown can just be melted. I know it's made out of gold, but I thought
because Hellboy says he's holding the crown in his hand. He's like, oh, so much power.
Endless army, Power's like,
and she's like, no.
Yeah, and she just melts it. All the Golden Army shuts off, and then it cuts to Manning trying to find everybody and the Giant's Causeway. They're like, where are they? It says that they're here, or they're not here. They come out of the Giant, and they all like hand in their bureau stuff, like, we quit. Everyone quits. Johan Kraus even quits.
But of course, Hellboy goes back for his gun.
He did go back. Yeah, he's like, nope, I still need this. Kind of foreshadowing maybe for the third movie. Like they're all supposed to be, quitted, but I'm sure they were going to get pulled back in for whatever.
Yeah, and they
reason.
start
And of course,
walking
as
away.
they're leaving, Hellboy mentions like, "Oh, now that I have a kid," I can't remember what exactly they're saying.
And she kind
And
of
she's like, "Kids."
Kids, yeah.
He's like, what?
And he looks over and he's like,
Yeah, and then it's
super excited.
cut to black.
And fade to black.
Yes.
Good movie.
Yep.
Down come the curtains on
End of the
Hellboy
movie.
2.
So I'll give my rating first. I gave it 1400 out of 1507. I really enjoyed this movie. Some of the comedy was a miss, but like the action scenes were good. Obviously, the character creation and the design was sweet. So this is a good time. I liked it.
I'm gonna give it a 1338 out of 1507. I thought honestly it was a solid action romp. I mean, obviously it had its plot holes. I thought the characters for the most part were appealing, you know, kind of kept the story going along pretty well. So definitely a solid, we'll say fantasy action comedy. Yeah.
A little bit of romance in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. As 1380, I think it was really good. It's right up my alley. I like that sci-fi, a little historical stuff too. Kind of like to see like those old generation, kind of like this old civilization is still actually around, still kind of fighting kind of thing. So I kind of like that historical stuff. I do kind of, it leaves you wanting more. That's for sure.
Yes. And always a shout out to Guillermo Del
One
Toro
more
character
time.
designs
One more time.
and practical
For sure.
effects at that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and remember to like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you think. Tell us if you don't agree with our ratings of movies, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Alrighty, folks. Catch you on the other side.
Bye.